Hello, my name is Jesvir Mahil and I am the Director of University for Life. Welcome to the Creativity and Culture Conference. To give you some background of the purpose of the conference and how the idea for it emerged, allow me to explain a bit about the background. So I started researching for a PhD in education over 5 years ago. I began this research while I was still teaching business studies to teenagers, 16 to 19-year-olds in further education colleges in England. When I used to ask my teenagers to be very creative and to put some creativity into their assignments, I was often disappointed at their interpretation of what I meant by creativity. Very often I would receive assignments full of copies, pictures that they had copied and pasted from the internet and colourful titles. Perhaps you'll agree with me that a culture of copy and paste is not intrinsically creative. However, I also noticed that we don't have a shared definition of creativity, which is useful in the business education environment. So I began my research with a pedagogical concern, exploring this concept of creativity that we could define in a way that was appropriate for the business environment. And I began my research from 1926 with Graham Wallace, who wrote the book The Art of Thought, and he described the creative process. And during my first year, I synthesized some of the existing research into creativity, which often defined creativity as entailing two broad concepts, one of originality and one of value. Originality is sometimes called uniqueness or surprise, something that we're not expecting. And value can sometimes be referred to as being effective or appropriate or useful in some way. But by the end of my second year, I realized that this definition of creativity was limited to only the product of creativity, and creativity is much broader than merely the product, which is just one aspect of creativity. So this synthesis of the current research, the existing knowledge, I was able to categorize it into 7 broad aspects of creativity, which as a mnemonic I call the 7 Ps. The 7 Ps are the process, the person, place, pressures, products, persuasion, and permanence. Each of these Ps can be used to ask yourself a relevant question about creativity. For example, what kind of person is creative? So you could ask yourself, how am I creative? The process, how do I generate creativity? The product, what is my creative contribution? Place, where am I most creative? Pressures, what pressures are blocking my creativity? Persuasion, how is my creativity being recognized and rewarded? Permanence, how will my creativity cause cultural revolution or cultural evolution? During this conference, you will find that every person who has done a speech or engaged in an interview will have very different questions about creativity based on their perspective, whether they are academic or educators or entrepreneurs. And you will also have your own personal questions. So if you would like to email me some of your questions over the next 2 weeks, that would really help us to prepare the conference so that we can best meet your needs. So please email me at creativity@universityforlife.com with your specific questions regarding creativity. Thank you.